Hey guys, Big J here. Before we get started on our Brisbane review, I just wanted to say thanks. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching these videos and kind of letting us know in the comments how you're going. Unfortunately, 62% of you guys are still unsubscribed. We want to grow that channel. We're trying to hit that magic 2K mark as quick as we can, and we can only do that with you guys watching. So smash that like button, smash that subscribe. Tell your friends to do the same. We'll be here all season. We're covering all 18 teams during the preseason, and then use our regular usual content as well throughout the season. So stay tuned for that. Brisbane, it's a real interesting one. I didn't think that Brisbane were going to be that relevant, but stay tuned. There's a lot of players that you guys should be looking out for in this video. As I said before, Brisbane Lions, they made the grand final. Unfortunately, they lost, and a lot of player movement happened in the preseason as well. So if you look our video with DR, we kind of went over which players came in, which players came out, and a little bit of the movement of the team. When I made this preseason video, when I started to research the players, I was just like, mate, there'd be no one there to pick. But to my surprise, there's quite a few really good Brisbane players. Some young kids coming through and some older players who maybe are getting a bit of a position change, which is quite exciting for us because generally that means that they're underpriced and they can go through. I think this year is one of those years where obviously we don't have Dunley in the forward line anymore, and I'm not sure how many people are going to pick him. That early buy really hurts, but if you've got coverage, maybe you're one of the people that have him as a pod player. Let's check out who I'm looking at during the preseason games. Starting from the back line, I guess we kind of have to go through everyone first. Big player is Harris Andrews there in the back line. I don't think he's going to be super coach relevant, but if we can get him at a cheaper price throughout the season, I'm more than happy to have this guy as a bench cover player. Really good interceptor, the general in the back line. Maybe won't be as selected as the next guy I'm going to talk about, but still a favorite of mine. Next one up is Kade Coleman. Now, I know a lot of you in our previous videos, in our live stream, hey, Big J, what's up with Kade? Do we pick him? Do we not pick him? Daniel Rich is gone. Kade did have a massive run in the second half of the season. Did very, very well. And looks to be just kind of that sole halfback player. Well, obviously they have one on both sides, but the main distributor of halfback. Did put out some big 100-plus scores. But as we've noted in our live streams before, even when Rich didn't play during the season, his average was only like an 85. So it's up to him now to really break through that. And from all preseason reports, the kid's flying. So definitely one to watch over the preseason games. If you can't afford one of those higher price premiums, maybe you can pick him up and hope he's going to make you some extra money. He's only priced at about a 70. So there is a lot of wiggle room there. You'd only have to get to an 85 to a 90 average for you to start raking in that cash. Because remember, a 90 average is 450K, and then 100 average is about 550. So he can do it. Wait and see what happens. The next one up is Darcy Gardner. Now, Big J, why are you talking about Darcy Gardner? You know why I'm talking about Darcy Gardner? Because in the preseason game this week, guy went and kicked 3 or 4 goals on the forward line. It looks like they're going to be playing him as that McStay role. Maybe Gunston came in, showed, hey, we need that third player. I think Darcy Gardner is the one that looks to be playing it. From all reports, from what I remember from last year, the guy maybe isn't the best defender, but has fantastic hands, knows how to take a mark, and uses body quite well. I think Brisbane last year really got hurt without McStay in the team. Someone who maybe was a little bit underrated and then went to Collingwood and probably was a little bit overrated depending on his price. They took a lot to pick him up. But yeah, if this guy keeps the trajectory that we're going, could make us an easy 150K very, very quickly. Hopefully, let's wait and see through the preseason, but some people could be picking him up. If you're ballsy enough, around 2 or 3 buy, whichever one they've got really does hurt. The last one on our list in the back line is Zane Zakalinski. Now, I know he probably won't feature early, but from all reports, this guy's flying. He's doing really well. And I think they're kind of looking for this mobile type ruck that, I think Brisbane kind of looking for. Mobile ruck, mobile defender. I wish North Melbourne had picked him up, but it is what it is. And I can't wait for him to kind of start dominating in the AFL. As I said at the start of the video, Josh Dunkley, mate, I wish this guy was still forward eligible, but unfortunately he's not. And it really hurts us this year. He's going to be a super pod for those that are going to pick him up. And I think he can do really well. The biggest question for me is post Ashcroft being injured, his scoring seems to have fallen off a little bit. Maybe that's just bias. Maybe I'm incorrect with that saying, but that's what it kind of felt like for me. Hopefully, Brisbane can kind of figure things out a little bit and get him and the next guy that we're talking about to touch a lot more of the ball. Josh Dunkley would have been loved at the Doggies because they just miss his tackling, his evasiveness, his contested ball use. At Brisbane, he's fantastic. One of my favourite players, still really young. He's in my top 8 midfielders, but not one to start. Could feature very, very early, though, and definitely track him over the preseason. Same with Ollie Neil. Now, he is getting a little bit older, but two-time Brownlow winner, mate, you can't go past him. It does feel like he has had a little bit of regression over the time, but as I said with Dunkley, one to watch over the preseason. It is a cheaper price than a few more of these other players. Like, if you don't have enough money for Tom Green and you need to upgrade, maybe a Ollie Neil's the way to go. If you don't have enough money for Sarong or a Butters throughout the season, maybe a Ollie Neil's the way to go. It's not too bad. He can still score really well. It all comes down to how Brisbane's going to play him, but I don't think he's going to be that early selected just because the early buy really hurts. One that I'm really excited to watch this year is Hugh McCluggage. I think he's at the right point, similar to another guy in the forward line. Right age, right timing, opportunities galore, where he could become Brisbane's next 600k plus midfielder. I don't think there's many teams that have 3, but I think Brisbane are the ones to do it. They definitely have that run and carry through the midfield. All he really needs to do for me, his contested numbers, his tackling, whatever's fine. He just needs to kick a few more goals. I don't believe he's one of those players that likes to run through and kick a goal, maybe like how a Dunkley or a Ollie Neil have done in the past. McCluggage can pick that up. It's going to be fantastic. One to watch over the preseason games. Similar to McCluggage, I think a Dane Zorko, depending on where he plays, he could be a real asset for us in the forward line. I've put him here as a midfielder just because our forward line, I've got a couple of sneaky players in there. But if we're really depleted in this forward line, if Zorko goes back to more of a midfield role, if his body can hold up really with Ashcroft kind of being out and a few players moving around in that Brisbane team, he could be one to watch for us. And similar as well, Jarryd Lyons. This guy was a premium 2 years ago. I'm pretty sure he was 600k. For him to be 258 now, yes, he's got to compete with the cheaper guys like McCurcher and Sanders, but mate, if he comes out, gets a midfield role, we don't need him to score a lot of points, but if he can score some points early, depending on matchup, early buy does hurt, but could make us that quick cash for an early upgrade and really reduce the number of midfield minutes, the number of midfield trades we need to spend to actually finish off our team. In the midfield, we want to go down to 2 trades if we can. So two players traded for 1 midfield upgrade. With boosts, obviously, we can make that 3. But if Jarryd Lyons gets to 400-ish K, him and a rookie, hey, fallen premium or guy around 600K is very, very doable. So one to watch for us there. It just kind of depends if you're going to go premium like I am and then rookie, or if you're going to have some space for guys in the middle. Oscar McInerney, you got to talk about the ruckman. Isn't really Supercoach relevant, but in draft, if you need a player, fantastic. I'm not sure how his scoring is going to go with the new rules. It'd definitely be one to watch over the preseason, so stay tuned for that. His scoring could go up because of, to my understanding, that the new ruck rules favour a bit more of a physical type player, someone who's cool. As long as you're in the contest, you can do whatever you want with your body. So he could be definitely one that he gets another 10, 15 points. Not too bad for the price. Just why would you pick him over Gawn and Grundy? That's kind of my thing, especially with the early buy. One here who looks to be the guy to break out is Zack Bailey. I know DR loves this guy. I love him too. Just seems to be flying through the preseason. My understanding is he's probably playing a little bit more mid-time and not as much forward, but you see how good he is through the burst. I know I'm a North fan. I talk about LDU all the time, but Zack Bailey's basically the Brisbane version of him. Maybe not as good as contested, but speed and goal sense, this guy's everywhere. From what I've seen in the preseason as well, he seems to be the one that gets handed the ball on the high half forward mark and then kicks the goal. He's always been around the mark, but if we're stuck this year, if we don't have as many options in the forward line, if we don't get as many DPPs, hopefully that doesn't happen. Bailey could be someone who forces himself into our sides, especially if he gets a lot better. Similar to another player who could force himself in our sides is Cam Rayner. More reports in the preseason, this kid's flying and he looks to be playing a lot more mid-minutes. If you think about his age and demographic, he was in the same draft as LDU and Brayshaw and Sarong. And Butters and Rosie. We're looking at these players as, hey, you're the right age to break out. He has had those injuries, which has kind of pushed his development back a little bit, but it looks like at the moment he's playing a majority mid-role. Preseason's flying. He's getting a lot of contested ball and tackles, and we know he did have glimpses of that during the preseason. So one to watch over the preseason games. I'm not saying pick him, but there is warrant to have a look at him over those as well. If we're forced to down the track to not pick a lot of these midfielders who now become premium forwards, Cam Rayner could be someone to look at in our teams. The next guy I had really big hopes for, but unfortunately from what I'm reading in the preseason reports, Roby is still in rehab. So maybe not at the moment, but definitely someone to watch. Maybe a downgrade option, or if he can get his body right over the next few weeks, could be that option there. It really felt like when Ashcroft went out due to injury last year, Rob came in and just kind of took his role a little bit. Everyone knows that shirtless pick, that game where I'm not sure who the player was, but ripped off his shirt. Instagram pictures went up. His Instagram likes just kind of jumped out of nowhere. Really good player. Decided not to take a 4-year contract with West Coast to stay at Brisbane, which means that they're going to play him as much as they can, because why would he stay if he's not being promised game time? I know they're probably a bit more competitive, but players want to play best 22 footy. So he's one to watch for me. The next one up here is a bit of a sneaky one. Now, Kade Coleman was playing in the A's this week. Missed a few shots, but, definitely around the mark. Our forward lines are kind of bare outside of the super expensive players. So maybe he doesn't feature as early, but definitely someone to watch over the preseason. If we start hearing his name, don't be surprised if he doesn't kick a few goals as well. The last person who I'm looking at in our forward line is Logan Morris. Now, I'm pretty sure this kid came out in intra-club this week and just kicked 4 goals out of nowhere. Fantastic young man, fantastic player, really under the radar. Brisbane have got to have gone a winner here. I know that they probably need a few more of his type, and maybe he's that power forward to come in if Rayner or someone else starts playing a bit more mid-time. Got the right height, the right type of body. Definitely one to watch. And interviews really well as well. Hey guys, well, that's my review of the Brisbane team, who you need to be looking out for, and who's Supercoach relevant heading into the preseason games. If I'm missing out on anyone, let me know. Big J, hey, you're talking shit. This guy's a defender, he's not a forward. Let me know in the comments. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Remember, we've got our Supercoach League as well that's come out. I'm going to link the video down in the description below. You guys know what's up. We can win AFL voucher. We can win a couple of tickets for the AFL or a team jersey of your choice. All the details are going to be down in the description below in that video. So check that out. We're going to have all of our team review videos coming out over the next week, because on Sunday, the first of the preseason games are going to be live on KO. Football is coming quick. Thanks for staying tuned, and thanks for watching our content over the preseason. Remember, you're at the Centre Bounce. We do the hard work. See you.